Hi guys, come on in. Hi Sherry. Um, we're gonna talk about it. While everybody is still coming in, I just want to let everybody know that even though I'm not necessarily reviewing Married at First Sight anymore, I am still going to be reviewing shows. I'm still going to be doing, different content. So make sure you keep your notifications turned on and make sure you stay tuned in. Married at First Sight used to be a big staple on my channel, but ever since the show has been going downhill, I just can't even do it anymore. I used to just review the show strictly because I was making money from it, but uh it's been a hard watch, especially this season. I I tuned out. I just could not do it. Especially the honeymoons. The honeymoons were extremely hard to watch, and usually the honeymoons are like the most eventful or the part you look forward to. And child, I really think at this point it's a mistake to let the couples mingle as much as they do. Not saying that they can't meet each other, but as we can see from this reunion, having them so intermingled and constantly talking to each other, hanging out, they are they start to affect each other's relationships. When, when the host is asking you a question about your marriage and your friend is stepping in and answering the question, I just feel like we lost the plot somewhere. Like, this is not friend at first sight. This is married at first sight. And I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like the people on this stage, most of them came on here to want to be seen. And I want to mention this too. They really do need to stop recruiting people from dating apps, sliding in people's DMs, and, you know, recruiting people from the show in these unprofessional ways. Like, of course, you're going to find people that are not serious. Like, I don't know how y'all will find them, but matchmakers do this all the time. Matchmakers, like professional matchmakers, find people that are looking for love, that are looking to be serious and settle down, and they match them up with each other all the time. So I'm not saying it'll be easy to find people to want to do that on TV, but y'all have the money and resources to find at least, people that are they genuinely people that genuinely want to get married. So I don't know. That's why the show has been exhausting to watch. It's just been downhill. It's been downhill for a while. Um, I want to say the Kristen Page season, that was like the beginning of the end for this show, in my opinion. Um, I don't know. And then this season should have been thrown away. Like, this season should not have made the light of day. Not just because of, the outcome at the reunion, people know, everybody pretty much said no on decision day. And we come to the reunion and nobody is still together. They should have scrapped it when Michael was left at that altar. If if that was real, if he was truly jilted, I just feel like that ruined the entire season. And for y'all to continue and you match him up with somebody halfway through, that sounded right. Like, I was very confused when I saw him the second half of the season. It didn't make any sense, and I was like, oh, they matched him up with someone else. The fact that he even agreed, and he went through this whole process with another woman, and it turns out he wasn't even worthy of getting married. So the girl that left him at the altar, if that were a real storyline, if that truly happened, she just was following her intuition. That was correct. Hi, Heather. She wasn't wrong. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. Okay? This whole reunion was so convoluted. Men versus women. It just felt like I don't know if y'all have been on Twitter when men and women are like arguing and it's like gender wars. Well, men do this and women do this. It felt like a real life Twitter beef between men and women, like a gender war. It felt like that in real life on this stage. This season was so bad, it made me forget how terrible last season was. I can't even remember last season. I'm trying to remember who was on it. Yeah, it was just terrible. All the girls are just clicked up, wearing I don't even know if they realize how bad it looks that 4 of y'all are wearing pink. Meanwhile, the other woman is on the other side not wearing pink. So one, it makes it look like y'all clicked up on her and left her out. Regardless of what really happened, that's the optics. Just from this picture, that's the optics. And 2, it makes it seem like y'all are followers and you're thinking with herd mentality and you can't think for yourself. This season was so bad. Oh, this season was literally the worst. Every single person was unlikable. Oh yeah, that was last season. Shaq and them. Hey Maisha, your hair has really grown. I'm still sad about this season. It's the first season I've skipped in almost 5 years. I pretty much skipped this season too. I saw a bunch of clips like when things came out, because I've been reviewing the show for so long, people still tag me in clips, people still send me clips, still send me tea and information. So I was able to keep up without actually watching the show. But I really have not been keeping up. And really the only reason why I wanted to review the reunion is because people were asking me and I was like, I agreed to do it. But when I watched the reunion, I'm like, all of this is so convoluted. Like I just could not even get a grasp on what was happening outside of ain't nobody innocent except for maybe Lauren. I'll give Lauren a pass. But hey, Alexis, I'm telling you, you got to watch me. And I hate to say this, but like the US version of Married at First Sight has like kind of ruined all of it for me. I need a break. So maybe once I get all of this out of my system, I'll check out like the other versions. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just I'm just going to read my notes. So I already talked about the dresses and how I felt about that. The most contentious cast in history. So the host, Kevin, he made it clear that this is the most contentious host. They were not even willing to sit next to each other, which I feel like a lot of them are just being childish. Like, if Paige can sit next to Chris, and I'm not saying Paige should have had to sit next to Chris, But if she can, like, come on now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like so he was asking them about the relationships and why things were not working. And basically, the women are trying to say that the men were being strategic and not allowing them to be as authentic as they wanted to be. And mainly Cameron was the main leader, and he pulled people to the side. Lauren said he pulled her to the side, and I was questioning it until Lauren said that he pulled her to the side at the honeymoon. I believe her. He pulled her to the side at the honeymoon and said, you know, there's a way that we can still come out looking good. And they would come out, they're trying to basically make themselves look good on TV and save their reputations. And the women claim that, oh, we had nothing to do with it, but y'all went along with it. Nobody held a gun to y'all head. Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Nobody threatened y'all with a weapon and made y'all do anything. As opinionated and outspoken as every woman on that stage is, y'all could have easily told the experts, this person is being very disingenuous, the same way Mika. Remember at the honeymoon, Mika, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. Michael said something to Mika, like gave her an ultimatum, like, if we don't consummate the marriage on the honeymoon, then I'm walking away. Something like that. Mika was not happy with that. And she immediately told the experts, the producers, whoever, that she doesn't feel comfortable with him while he's making these ultimatums. So it's possible for y'all to have done that, but y'all decided to go along with it. And then y'all are trying to act like you're so benevolent. Like, oh, we just wanted to protect their reputations. We wanted to protect their image. We just really wanted it to work. No, y'all wanted to get whatever y'all could get out of it as well. Let's just be honest. If we're going to expose what went down behind the scenes, be honest about it. Yes, I believe Cameron was manipulative. I believe that. Because I also saw some text messages that were exposed on him on MAFS fan. And I also feel like there were some deleted messages on Claire's side as well. But I digress. I believe he was being manipulated. I was skeptical of him when I first saw him. But I don't know, y'all. Like, it's just all this whining and crying of, oh, it was done to me. And the only person that I really, really feel bad for is Lauren, because I feel like she did not get a chance. I do feel like Orion was not attracted to her, and he did play in her face, and he tried to assassinate her character with the whole, you know, racial slur situation. I do believe that Brennan, when he got back from that honeymoon, he completely shut down, and he was controlling from what I saw. I do believe that, but I also don't think Emily is an angel in this situation either. I just feel like everybody has a hard time taking accountability for the part they played. I feel like y'all are still trying to put on an act instead of just coming clean, being honest, and being authentic. I knew Cameron couldn't be trusted when he said his parents didn't even know he was married. Exactly. That's a big red flag. That's a big red flag. If your parents don't even know, and then it's bad enough that your parents are in New Zealand and they couldn't come to the wedding, but you didn't even tell him. And then he said something about his father being sick and he didn't want to worry his dad. Then why are you doing this? This season was such a mess. I think it set such a bad example. I also feel like it made the women look so bad. It did. Like, because they were so ready to pounce, they just was constantly, yeah, we just got a bad batch of men, or just different things they were saying. It's like, so you didn't play a part in this at all. The fact that Orion was on so freaking long. Exactly. The fact that people that broke up, the couples that broke up, why were they continuing to film? Like, what happened to the days where when you didn't want to be married anymore? Y'all remember Alyssa, I'm a good person, and she didn't want to be married to old dude, but she still wanted to live in the apartment, and they put their foot down and said, no, the only way you can be here is if y'all live together and are married. But for this season, y'all are very lax on the rules. Y'all are allowing people to still come to the group functions. Like, we should not have seen Orion or Lauren again until the reunion. When Claire and Cameron broke up, we shouldn't have saw them until the reunion. Why are they still lingering around? Y'all, I can't believe this season just ended. Married at First Sight Australia started after USA, ended before reunion and all. Aussie has like 38 episodes. Dang. Oh, they released 4 a week. That's still a lot. Are they hour episodes or 30 minutes? They thought that they could control production, and it made them look bad. Exactly. They thought they could manipulate. Let's see. What else do I have in my notes? Orion said, Lauren told Lauren the second day of their honeymoon that he basically came on TV in order to promote his culture, and pretty much getting a wife was secondary. I believe it. I don't know if he came on here to promote his, I don't know if I believe that part, but I think he probably did tell her that because he wasn't attracted to her. And yeah, which is a jerk move. We don't need to see people who got divorced early, and we didn't need to see them hanging out after decision day. Exactly. Hour episodes, but I'm telling y'all, it fly by because the drama is juicy. I might check it out. Okay, let's just go ahead and talk about Claire and Cameron. So Claire said that he had them strategizing off camera and executing what they planned on camera. And at one point she was like, what choice did I have? Girl, you are a grown woman. And at some point she was like, you were the puppet and I was the puppet master. She messed up. She meant to say she was the puppet and he was the puppet master. But when she messed up, he took full advantage and was like, yeah, that was a Freudian slip. And I don't know, is it just me? But I just feel like Claire had a script that she memorized, because every time she was talking to him, she would be looking up, like she would talk to him and then she would try to look up, trying to remember what she needed to say. It just didn't feel like what she was saying was coming from her heart. It just felt like she was trying to remember her lines. Like, I'm not, like I said, I don't think Cameron is innocent. I believe he came up with a lot of this stuff and was orchestrating and being a puppeteer. I do. I believe that. But I believe you be lying as well. Because at some point you said, Claire said that she was attracted to him when she first met him and on the honeymoon. But when he said that his type was more so tall, slender, European, that's when she stopped being attracted to him. And I don't believe that, because like he said, you never once said you were attracted to him. That was your first time saying you were attracted to him. And even at your wedding, you could tell you were not feeling him like that. And I think that he probably told you he was more so attracted to European women when he figured out you didn't like him like that. So he said that to be petty. But it just made me question everything she said after that, because you're trying to rewrite history. We saw it on TV. You didn't want that man, but you went along with it. Also, I think the show bought so many weeks, so they had to figure something out to comply with the contract. Sounded badly rehearsed, very bad. I trust Claire slightly more than Cameron. Cameron had a duper's delight, liar smile the entire time. Claire, the therapist, wants us to believe she got totally manipulated. That she did say she was a therapist. Because I'm like, why do I feel like Claire knows better than all of this? Like, I could see Emily maybe getting manipulated because she was being controlled by Brennan at some point. We all saw that. But not Claire. I don't believe it. I believe she was in on it. I do. Had her PowerPoint presentation. I see why Cameron was kicked out of the church. That is not funny. Because he was a little kid. But if he was in there being Dennis the Menace, I could understand. Anyway, let's see what else. They both came, well, no, he came up with going with the religion, the religious differences as an excuse for them not working, when he said she wasn't really religious, she didn't really care about that, but they needed a good excuse so that they both wouldn't look bad, by just breaking up just because they weren't attracted to each other. They had their one-on-one. And before they walked out there, Cameron said, the women, they'll take a granule of truth and they'll build off that and try to make it seem like it's something it's not. But I really think he was projecting. I think that's exactly what Cameron does. I think Cameron will take a little piece that's true and build upon it and just create a completely different scenario. I think that's what you do, sir. So they sat out there with Kevin. They had this whole back and forth about how, she's accusing him of not being attracted to her. He's accusing her of not being attracted to him. She said he only gave her compliments about her butt. And he basically was like, well, I'm your husband. I should be. She was like, yeah, but that's not the only thing you should be complimenting. Then they get to, this was after they broke up, I believe. And he was having some sort of procedure on his heart, something like that. And Kevin asked whether she went to visit him. And she quickly was like, yes. And he was like, you never came to visit me. Like, we would text about it, we would call about it, but you never actually came. And that's, once again, I'm just like, girl, you've been caught up in a couple of lies now. So I'm just like, both of y'all. Now I'm gonna tell y'all what turned me all the way off about him. That made me like, you ain't no good either. Is the fact that after calling her all types of lies, manipulators, at one point a sociopath, he said that he still wanted to give it a chance. He still would be with her if he could. That's when he lost all credibility with me, because I'm just like, why? Why would you ever want to be with somebody that you had all these crazy things to say about them? And clearly you said she lying on you and all that. Why would you want to be with her after that? And then Kevin was sitting there encouraging it. Like, he was like, oh, well, why don't you think about this? Why don't you give it a chance? Stop. They always want to encourage toxic behavior. Oh my goodness. They always encourage the couple to stay together, even if it's toxic. That's another reason why I stopped watching this show. Because y'all encourage abuse. It's not cool. And it turns out she's dating someone anyway, so I was so happy for their segment to be done. Praying for Claire's career, because this is a really bad look. It really is. It really is, because it would have me thinking, if I come to you, are you going to be gaslighting me the whole time? It's a sign for me. Pinky is really doing this so she doesn't get fined. She does it for us. So let's like the video. Yes, please like the video. Oh, she tells so many stories. I know. So let's move on to Austin and Becca. Let's get away from them. So let me start by saying this. I feel like Austin and Becca, although when they first met each other, they had a lot of chemistry, and it was almost as if they already knew each other. They seemed extremely comfortable with each other just on their initial meeting. And, even within the first few episodes, they were getting along well. But I have said from day one it wasn't going to work because they had too much working against them. And they didn't even mention, maybe they'll mention it in part 2, but they didn't even mention the major deal breaker things that they have in this marriage, that even if they weren't going through the other little stuff they had, would have broken them up in the long run, or could have a huge chance of breaking them up in the long run. For one, her health issues. I hate bringing it up, but speaking as someone who has been a caregiver, that is not an easy role to play, especially for someone you do not know and don't already have a genuine love and care for. Some people are just empathetic and able to do it without having a connection. They just have that that giving heart to want to help, right? I personally feel like most people don't have that, especially men. Women, we're raised to be nurturers and to take care of, people when they're sick and things like that. Men aren't necessarily trained to be like that. Even though I've seen male caregivers, but usually they're taking care of people they already have a relationship with. But I just feel like that's a lot to place on a brand new relationship and just throw that in your lap. That's a lot. And I feel like that's something that was never truly addressed. 2, religious differences. Now, he's a Christian. She comes from a Jewish faith. Yes, she says she's agnostic, but she still had that man break that bottle in the wedding ceremony. So that tells me she still holds some of the traditions, at the very least, in high regard. In the long run, yes. Can it work? Yes. There have been plenty of couples that has worked out in the long run. But I feel like in a lot of ways, it can't, especially when he's telling her that he thinks that she's going to go to HEW hockey sticks. You know what I'm saying? If your beliefs are that different, how are y'all going to coexist? How are y'all going to have children and raise them when your beliefs differ that much? Now, a lot of people felt like he was using that as a cop-out because he wasn't attracted to her or whatever. I will never know for sure, but I'm just saying, regardless, that was going to be an issue, I feel like. And then you place on top of that, she's trying to, looking for the right word because I don't want to. She's. I'm just gonna say it. I feel like she was doing a lot of pressuring him and badgering him for intimacy, and he wasn't responding to it. Whether he's attracted to her or not, he is willing to. I mean, he is 100% right for setting whatever boundary he wants to. I just feel like if a woman, if a man were doing the same thing that Becca was doing and constantly badgering him every time we turn around, like when are we going to do it, or why can't we do it? It, it's like almost like you're trying to push it on him. Why would you even want it that way? You know what I'm saying? So those are like their three biggest issues. To me, in my opinion, they most of them were not even addressed in this part. But on top of that, she felt like he was a part of wanting to present a certain way on camera, and she agreed to do that, but she felt like he acted different off camera. She felt like he was willing to be a little bit more lovey-dovey on camera, only after a lot of coercing, not coercing. Oh, it took a lot for him to get there, but he got there, right? Off camera, not so much. And it sounds like he had a hard time filming. He didn't like filming. They were long and it weighed on him mentally, and she didn't necessarily have that problem. Also, we have to talk about this producer. Now, this is where, Austin, you dead wrong. I don't know what was going on between him and that producer, but all I got to say is, Montre, what is going on? Montre, where you at? I'm going to need for you to reel these producers in, because a few seasons ago, it was one of the experts. She done ran off and got married to one of the contestants, and now it's the producer. We ain't even seen her face. We done talked about the producer so much. She should have been at the reunion. This producer then came in and interfered in the marriage. He on decision day, after he said yes, hanging out with this female producer, didn't tell his wife about it, didn't invite his wife, and then they both lied about it. That's trifling. And I feel like, if anything, Becca, that should have been the thing that you harped on. That should have been the thing that you really, I feel like she was harping too much on the lack of intimacy. You should have been harping on the fact that he met up with that producer. Like, that was a big deal. And if Kevin was gonna go in on anything, he should have went in on that. Because I thought that was wildly inappropriate. They need to get a rein on these crew members. Remember Dr. Viviana off the hint? I remember Dr. Viviana telling us that we taking it too seriously, taking the show too seriously. That's probably why she lost her job. I also don't believe Austin when he said he was attracted to Becca, especially when he said he walked right past her when she was naked. Look, if somebody is constantly pressuring me, I'm telling you, I don't want to do this. I want to wait. You should respect my boundaries. And I probably will walk right past you too if you're trying to take off your robe and be naked in front of me to try to pressure me. And no, I will walk right past her too. Now, do I know? I don't know if the man was ever attracted to her. It seemed like it when he first met her, but a lot of people put on. Well, I don't know. I can't tell you whether he was or wasn't. He claims he was. I don't know. But I'm telling you, that would turn me off. Coerced seduction. Exactly. Like, you can't do that just because you're a woman. That doesn't change the fact that that is wrong. Imagine if a woman came on this show and said a man did that to her, we would all be in an uproar. It's not cool, right? That's not cool. Doesn't excuse what he did. Let me see. Do I have anything else? He kind of had like a good not a good back and forth. He had like a little snappy back and forth with Kevin, because I feel like Kevin is biased. That's where he gets on my nerves. I feel like he's good with when he's calling people out, he's good at it. But he's biased, so he only calls out the people that he doesn't like. He doesn't call out people that I guess he's in good with or whatever. I don't like that. That's annoying. And you know, he was hammering these questions on Austin, and I feel like I could be behind him if he was doing it about the producer, but he was kind of more so trying to see, well, are you really attracted to her? And it's like, if I already told you an answer, don't keep asking me that question 5 different ways. I've already told you the answer. Whether you believe me or not, that's up to you. And he was like, you're asking me to be honest and I'm answering, and then you question what I'm telling you. And he was offended by that. And he was like, well, I'm giving you the opportunity to put things on the table if you want to. And if you don't, it's cool. And he was like, thank you for the opportunity. Because it's like, why are you being condescending and low-key gaslighting? I don't know. This is not the first time Kevin has done something like this on this show. Get Kevin back on ET, right? Yes, Kevin is still there. And I feel like, for some reason, I feel like Kevin has a bigger role than he's had in the past of just like being the reunion host. For some reason, the way he was speaking, it felt as if he was like a part of the casting process, or I don't know. It just sounded like he has a bigger role than he once had. All right, Chloe and Michael, I'm not going to spend too much time on them because I feel like it was a mistake giving Michael a second chance. Like, the girl left him at the altar. That's it. That's it. It really should have been it for the season, if you ask me. But that's it. Like, why should he get a second chance? And really, he should have never took the second chance, because at least we was feeling sorry for him at first. Now you just as trash. I feel like the girl that left you at the altar, she was just following her good God-given intuition. She saw you coming. She really deserves her flowers, okay? Because she saw straight through you and you didn't even have to open your mouth. Turns out he said no to his wife on decision day out of nowhere. Shocked the experts, shocked the wife, shocked the world, right? She said she never saw the red flags in him until he said no on decision day, and it made her look back on some things that he said, like when they first got into the limo after the wedding, he told her that she doesn't have to worry about changing her last name. And then turns out he never told his mother that he got a second chance and was actually going to marry somebody after the whole jilted thing happened. So obviously she felt some type of way about that. But he claimed she wasn't the problem, and he's whack, super whack. Like, why are you even here? Michael said a lot, but nothing at the same. Exactly. Michael was talking, he was running his mouth, but wasn't saying nothing at all. Let's move on to the women. Basically, they don't think any of the men were ready for the process. Of course, all the women had the right mindset, but none of the men did. The men wanted to portray themselves in a certain way, and the women went along with it because they wanted to protect their image. And she said Lauren said that the men had a goal, but the goal was never marriage. And we just got a bad batch of men. And I don't know. Even Kevin was like, okay, y'all can't place all the blame on the men. Where are y'all going to take some responsibility in this situation? And basically, they were just, yeah, we just went along for the ride. We should never went along with it. And it's like, so y'all are just helpless, defenseless, and just too nice. I'm like, these are all grown women. Y'all made the decision to go along with it. They brought up the fact that none of them consummated their marriage except for Michael and Chloe. Becca thinks it's a whole conspiracy theory. And I'm just like, Becca, just let that hurt go. Let that hurt go. She does not take rejection well. Okay? It doesn't have to be a conspiracy theory. If these men are as calculated and terrible as you said they were, at least they weren't sleeping with y'all just to throw y'all away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the least they could have done. As far as Emily and her accident, she feels like the only reason why Brennan was taking care of her the way that he was to make himself look better. I could believe that. Pretty much anything that Emily is saying about Brennan, I can believe. I saw it in his eyes. I did. I never trusted Brennan. I didn't. Speaking of them, let's just go ahead and move on to their segment. Once again, Emily is she's childish. Like, when they're in the back dressing room, she was like, "You're 1, I'm a 10, 2, 12." And when they're walking out to their seats to have their little one-on-one, she's flipping him off behind his back. It's like, girl, you're just making yourself look bad. For real. So, he felt that they ultimately just were not a match. They had too many differences in what they wanted and lifestyle. And he said that he just did not trust the process when he felt he didn't get matched correctly. And she took offense to that and said, well, you must have felt slighted because you got me. And he was like, I'm not necessarily trying to go in on you. I'm just saying that we were not a match. So I don't know. I just remember Brennan coming back from that honeymoon and not even wanting to move in, being very cold towards her. And she was doing everything she could to please you, even at her own detriment. And, he was trying to control what she did or did not say. And if she said something that he didn't like, he would leave or he would yell at her the next day. We saw how controlling he was when they had that little therapy session with Dr. Pia. And Dr. Pia was like, I want to talk to Emily. Let me talk to Emily. And he kept trying to overtalk and, control the situation. He did end up apologizing for how he acted in those scenes with Dr. Pia. But once again, I feel like everything Brennan does is for a look. He just wants to look good. He saw that made him look bad, so he's going to apologize. The only thing, not the only thing, but the thing that's bothering me about Emily is that she, once again, is being childish. Like, he's sitting up here saying he was wrong. And especially for how he talked to Dr. Pia and just was trying to show where he admitted to wrongdoing and taking accountability for it, whether he means it or not. He is doing that. And she just keeps jumping all over him while he's apologizing. And, it's just making you look bad. Like, what more do you want from him in that moment? He's admitting that he's wrong. Like I said, I believe he's just saying it for TV too, but at least he's saying it. Like, I'm not saying give him credit, but jumping all over him, it doesn't make him look worse. It makes you look worse. So, he kept saying that he didn't want to hurt her. And that's why he wasn't willing to be honest about not being attracted to her and things like that. But I'd rather you tell me the truth and hurt me that way than sugarcoat it and make it seem like you like me, but then your behavior does not show that. Your attitude, your actions don't show that. In fact, it does the opposite. It makes me feel less than. And I feel like he did manipulate her so that she wouldn't say negative things about him, and brought up the fact that if he was so bad, how could you name more than 10 things that you liked about me? And they pulled up a never before seen clip where she had this long list of things she liked about him. And he claimed that they were in a good place until, well, during that accident, they were in a good place. And the only thing that changed it was a malicious rumor of him possibly going on a double date with Cameron. And she was like, well, that wasn't even the only rumor. There were rumors, plural. And it left off on a cliffhanger. Like I said, I feel like Brennan, whatever Emily said Brennan did, I believe it. I believe it. I just think that I just feel like even if Emily was set up with a good partner, I still don't think she was ready to get married, just based off of her reactions. You were right about this show, not worth watching, so far from the original premise. Even the participants know it. Sabotaging their own marriages. Brennan looks empty inside. I don't know. Emily and Claire needs to be eaten up, in my opinion. Y'all, I'm tired. I did this just to say I did it. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off. I hope you have a good night. Make sure you like the video, and I'll see you in my next one.